Mm. Hey, y'all. Happy Friday. Welcome to First Fridays. Listen, if you do not know, the beginning of this year, I produced my first live worship experience for entrepreneurs. It was something that was given to me by God, and I fought it. I said no, and I kept saying no. I kept saying no. I kept saying no. I kept saying no. But he wouldn't let it go. And so it was an amazing experience. But what after the experience, people kept saying, well, what are we going to do until the next one? Because this experience at this point, God has given me, it's once a year, the first Friday of every year, the first Friday of every year. And everybody was like, well, what we gonna do until then? And I was like, pray. Y'all get in your prayer closet. Y'all take your plans to the Lord, and y'all pray until next year. Okay, let's see what happens. And y'all know me. Y'all know that I couldn't just let it be. But I did not have the capacity to host anything monthly or have any type of other groups or anything that I already do. So I took my plan and I took this plan to the Lord, and he brought First Fridays to me. So what we're going to do every first Friday of the month leading up to P.O.U.R, we're going to come on here live at about between noon and 1, and most likely 1 o'clock the first Friday. I'm going to have live guests. We'll have some worshipers on sometime. There may be a word from the Lord from someone. At any point, I want us to be at a space where we can remember as entrepreneurs that the plans that we have to give it back to the Lord. So our special guest today is I can't even, my baby, my ride or die, my make sure I get it done, the man behind all of the musical part of P.O.U.R. I had to have him come on for our very first, well, this will be our second one, for my very first live real one of P.O.U.R, because I wanted you guys to understand how we got here and what that really looked like. So I'll be explaining just kind of some of the history. He'll tap in and just kind of let you know his viewpoint. And then we're going to invite you to save the date for 1/3/25, 1/3/25, which is P.O.U.R, the live worship experience 2025. So let's welcome Mr. A.B. Keys, Alonzo Bickers. Hey.
What's up?
How are you? How are you?
I'm good. A little tired, but I'm good.
Same. So first off, I thank you for your yes, because I can get a little random sometimes. I'm like, look, I'm going live. You want to go live? Come on, come on, come on. So I appreciate your yes, but I wanted to really talk to people and explain to them just to get a little bit more visual about how we got to P.O.U.R 2024. And so, as I was telling people, God gave it to me and I fought it. I also know and I believe in accountability. So, pretty much the moment that God told me, I think I reached out to you and I was like, look,
Yep.
this is what God is telling me to do. And then in the process of that, I kept pulling back and I kept, I would say, okay, we doing it. Then I'm like, no, we ain't doing it. We doing
Yeah.
it. No, we ain't doing it. But I thank you. I thank you for your yes. So what did you think when I said, hey, this is what I want to do?
First of all, thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
To
Always.
everybody, yeah, Keandre has been the person who made pretty much AV Key start being a thing. Initially, it was just me just doing what I do without a lot of people knowing, but just still being an MD, music director for people, production management for people. And then she was the one like, you got pictures, you got cards, you don't got nothing. All right, I know somebody. I'll set up a shoot, and she did all that. So I want to say, just thank you for your yes to, pour in my
Awesome.
life,
Amen.
because it means the world. But when you talk to me about this, I think it's exactly my testimony of what you did for me. Of
Mm.
my business side of me does not eliminate who God is in my life, and what I do for my business.
Right.
They go hand in hand. And so for someone else to experience God's presence and his understanding about what I do with business, the world needs that. Because
Yeah.
it's like we do our outside of the church positions or things we do that don't say, well, the Lord said I should be. That's cool. You don't got to do all that, but you do need
Right.
His guidance and His leadership in every step you make and take, in doing this. So yeah,
Absolutely. Oh, I
it's that.
love that. I love that perspective because some people struggle, and and I'm not just talking about some people, I'm talking about myself, struggle with the fact that I'm no longer an active leader in a church. But
Yeah,
that doesn't take away the power and anointing that God has given me. It
yeah,
doesn't take away the gifts. And because I speak and because I teach, it's not like I'm like, hey, First Corinthians 2-3 says you're supposed to do this. You know what I'm saying? Like that's not how it is.
yeah,
But God is in what I do. And so I think sometimes we struggle with that, being able to bring God into the workspace and the things that we do, understanding that it's really not separate and that it
yeah.
doesn't have to be so we're not always speaking in tongues in business meetings or anything like that. Now,
Yes,
sometimes they get a little heavy. A
you
meeting
probably
can
should.
shift,
Some of us should.
and they can, but that's not all the time. And so, one of the things that I wanted for Poor is I wanted people to understand that God will give us an idea. We'll start planning, but we never bring it back to Him.
Yeah,
We'll plan it, we'll get it on paper, we'll call everybody we need, and then we'll execute it. But what we don't realize is in the execution, is that how He wanted us to lay it out? We
yeah,
know He wanted us to do it, but did He want us to lay it out that way? So when
yeah.
it came to the getting the it was interesting because I kept saying, Alonzo, nah, you know how I am. You know what I'm looking for. When it came to putting the band and the musicians and all of that together,
Yeah.
how did you it's interesting to watch you because I've watched you for years and I watch you do what you do and you don't say much. It just be like, I got you, Ma. And I'm like, no, I need to know that you got me. Like,
Mhm.
tell me step by step.
Yeah.
So how does that transpire for you?
I think I have to know who I'm going to use in certain places and events and ministering moments. So that always plays a big part. And I also, I guess for me with your event, it was I want God to be present. Not that my musician friends aren't all there, but there are some who they want to tap into that space. Some of them
Right.
are growing. It's for the guys who are growing. Sometimes you don't have a lot of opportunity to say, hey, let's go to the one, hit the four when this person sings this. Let's go to A versus someone who's a little bit more seasoned and tapped into those kind of moments to say, hey, she's about to get up and speak. We're not going to play anything at this moment. You don't have the urge to overplay, or you don't have the urge to underplay and say, well, I was trying to read the room. That's a big part of how I go by getting those right musicians, getting the right singers in the room. Some people sing for the likes.
Yeah.
Some people have the ability to sing so good that they are so good that to some people in the room, their talent would be a distraction. So you want to pick certain people for certain moments that they just going to go in there and minister to the moment and then sit down, not
Yeah.
over sing and say, God was so heavy in me. I know he was. But be
I
quiet.
get that.
Yeah,
And that it was very important up to me. And I kept telling you guys, we're not putting any faces on the flyer
yeah,
because for me, the special guest was the Holy Spirit.
yeah,
The special guest was God. Jesus was gonna be there. That's who we coming to see. Like we didn't put any faces on the flyer simply because I wanted people to understand that I don't want you to come here because this person is leading or this
Yeah.
person is playing, because together collectively we are coming together to worship him. And I was very adamant in that, and I even was adamant as I was sending out emails preparing people. I was like, special guest Jesus, okay, if you ain't coming to see him, this ain't the place for you. And I
Yeah.
think we were really able to relay that. I think we were able to really tap into his presence and get people to focus on God during this experience, and not who was up there singing, who's playing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I
Yeah.
think, do you feel like we were able to accomplish that?
I most definitely feel that way just because of the people that were in the room. And when you come to those kind of events, you're not coming to, you do want to see who's the who's who, but
Yeah.
not when you initially, and I go, this is to you, when you initially tell people what the purpose is for being here in the first place. Your purpose for being here is to hear from God. We're just trying to create an atmosphere where you're amongst the ones who serve in the capacity that you do. Maybe not the same exact field, but these are all business owners. These are all entrepreneurs in this room searching for an answer for God to use me in what I do. If I model, God, how do you want me to model? How do you want me to handle
Yeah,
my business meeting? Who do you want me to model for? We were all in that room. Yeah,
it
yeah, I most
was.
definitely feel like we had tapped into that.
And it was such a beautiful experience. I think I cried halfway through the experience outside of trying to jump around. You was like, you was moving too much. You moving too much, but that's me because I got to move. But I felt like that people, one of the things that people kept saying afterwards was, I didn't get any pictures with anybody because I really was focused on God. And that was the goal. Like, my thing
Beautiful.
is, there's tons of events all year long in Tampa. Go over there and take pictures over there with everybody. Like, we had a
Hmm.
photographer and you can take pictures out there. But when we
Yeah,
were in the worship space, that's what we're here to do.
yeah,
And I want, and even as the years progress and we continue to do this, it's still going to be that same flow. I'm not putting who's on the flight, who's there on the
yeah.
flight. You got to be there to find out. If you're there, you're there. If you know, you know. If you're not, but I want people to really focus on that. How do you feel? Um, do you feel that experience kind of helped you throughout the year with what you are doing? Because I wasn't able to make it, but you were able to do your experience last week, and I missed it, and I was crying. But I got you.
Yeah, man, that moment. You asking me? Okay, so I'll be 100% honest, and be trying to be graceful in my honesty in this moment.
Please.
That moment for P.O.U.R for me was a pivotal part in my business because I had to make some shifts, and not that I had to do it. God was making some shifts in my company, my friendships, my whole thing. So that night for me was a wake up call, even to the woman of God who ministered that night to everyone. Her coming to me telling me stuff that I haven't said to anybody. I haven't seen that lady in years. Um, we don't talk very often. We don't talk often at all. And for God to use her the way He did, for that moment to happen, it most definitely shifted for me because AB Keys Entertainment for me needed a shift. I personally needed one. Didn't know how bad it was, but I needed it for myself. So that moment most definitely made a shift in my life. Yeah, for sure.
Same,
Yeah,
same. For me, people don't realize, or I didn't realize the warfare that I would have to endure after
yeah. It
the
most definitely made me
breakthrough.
be aware.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
most definitely the
The
awareness of what's going
breakthroughs
on.
that people have had, the warfare, the personal and private warfare, as it relates to business. The first quarter for me, listen, it although you see us posting and we're doing some great things on the back end, people don't see the battles that I've had to really fight, that are battles that I normally, it's like so abnormal. It's like, where is this coming? I would have never had to do this 2 years
Yeah,
ago or 3 years ago. And it didn't dawn on me until one day I was just in my prayer closet and God was like, the breakthrough that happened, of course the enemy isn't happy. And you are the catalyst for that because you were the one that said, hey, let's do this. So of
Yeah.
course the mind battles, because what a lot of people know and what some people do not know is I was in ministry for years, licensed minister, ordained prophet, opening the church, closing in the church, praying, doing all those things, and then moving out of that space for healing for myself, and then producing something like this and
Hmm.
being like, you're not supposed, my the enemy kept telling me, you're not in the church, you're not in leadership nowhere, what, you can't produce something like this, you can't do that.
Yeah.
So the fight to get there and the fight afterwards was very, very strong. And that's something that I also wanted to bring up for the entrepreneurs that were in the space. Although you're seeing some residual and some residue from that, positive and negative, I want you guys to really hone in on continuing to pray throughout the year and
Yeah.
making sure that you're still bringing those plans before the Lord.
Yeah. I think when you were saying that, it just made me think about when we say positive, negatives, negatives for the believers is the positive for us to be aware of what shouldn't be happening or something that could come up, on us or try to attack us. This is a this is a an eye opener versus, man, this making me struggle,
Yes.
or oh my God, why did this happen to me? Calm down. Like our stuff is different. Well, the way we see an issue is how we see, oh, this is how I'm going to handle this the next time. This is
Right.
how I'm going to stay away from this. That's what God was trying to tell me. That's why this moment went that way, not necessarily woe is me in a moment that
Right.
didn't go the way you wanted it to. So yeah, that's
I agree. I totally
yeah,
agree. And I think that we as entrepreneurs and as men and women of God and faith, we do have to look at um our trials, tribulations, the things that we're believing in. We have to look at life a little bit different
yeah,
because
a lot
we
different.
yeah, a lot different. We do have to
Yeah,
look at it a lot different
yeah,
because of what we know to be true.
yeah,
And I think that that's where we struggle, because in our mind we know it to be true, but we're looking at life and we struggle with knowing, continuing that know to be true based off of what we see. And we are looking here when we should be looking there. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? And so
yeah.
I
It's the dangers of
definitely,
comparison. I
yeah.
think it's the danger of comparison because I want to compare. If I have a struggle, no shade on nobody, but like if I had a struggle, I'm gonna see how 50 Cent dealt with it. Uh,
Right.
That's
Right.
not that's not how I'm supposed to deal with that. Like I don't know how he deal with his, but I'm gonna go to the Bible. I'm going to go seek the Lord on how I deal with mine. I can't deal with mine the same way that celebrity did. Um,
Right.
yeah,
And being okay with that. And nobody's perfect. Like I have my own personal struggles that I promise you I'm still dealing with. And the thing is I think we all do, but we try to act like everybody's perfect and everything is fine, or nobody has struggles, ain't nobody,
yeah,
they ain't got no sin nature, they ain't got this because they, and it's like, y'all, come on, that's not life. Now
yeah,
our the goal is to try to be and remain as obedient as possible, and that's what we
yeah,
try to do. So I
yes,
just wanted people to come in, and I wanted to just take a moment, 15-20 minutes, we're almost at the 20-minute mark, to just have a quick First Friday to invite people out and save the date for next year, 1
1,
3
3,
twenty
2,
five.
5.
It
Yes,
is for the live worship experience here in Tampa, Florida. Alonzo, I just wanted to, one, give you all the praise and just thank you. I thank you for trusting me. I thank you for loving me. I thank you for taking the vision that I know that God has given me and listening to him, asking him on from your part what it should be, and coming back to me like, I see this and God told me this, so what you
yeah,
think? And being able to just help me and push me, because I know there were days that I called you and I was like, we ain't doing it, okay, I'm done, I don't want to do it no more. And
yeah,
then there were
yeah.
times that you called me back and was like, all right, we need to get it done.
We
So I
got to
just
do
want to
this.
thank you for that. Yeah,
Yeah,
I just want to thank you, and I want to publicly thank you, because without you there would not have been any P.O.U.R. And to be honest, there's nobody else that I would have wanted to do this with. I'm gonna be very honest with you. There's nobody else that I would have ever wanted to produce something like this for the kingdom of God without you. I just didn't see a way to do it without you. And so I thank you
I'm
and I honor
grateful.
you. I honor
I'm
you. I thank
grateful.
you for that. So guys,
Yeah.
we're gonna wrap up. Listen, today is First Friday, so I want you to take your plans back before the Lord. Every First Friday, we're going to pull out those plans. We're going to look at where we are and take them back before the Lord to make sure that we're on track based off of what He told us to do. So you take some time, sometime today or this weekend, and bring those plans that you brought to God earlier in the year back to the Lord. And then I want you to join us on 1/3/25. The registration link and things will be up in a month or so. Just be ready, y'all. Don't get ready, be ready. We'll see you
Yeah.
guys soon and see you guys on 1/3/25.
Yeah.